These are the top two NMES units on the marketplace. But which one should you spend your hard-earned money on?
You win. Fight!
What's up, superhumans? My name is BT. If you're new to this channel, first of all, welcome. I like to create content that's going to help you move, feel, and perform better, both mentally and physically. So if you're into that sort of thing, please consider subscribing. Welcome to the first episode of Versus. This is where we're going to take two products that compete against each other in the marketplace of tech and fitness and pit them head to head to see which one deserves your hard-earned money. Because let's face it, if we're going to spend this much money on something, we only want to do it once. All right, so last week I introduced you to this. This is the Compex. This is an NMES unit, neuromuscular electrical stimulation unit. I explained what they do and why you would want one. Either way, click this box up here and that will take you to that video. Because if you haven't seen that, watch that first, then come back here. But basically, in my opinion, this is one of the greatest pieces of fitness technology that's been invented. And I really think you should get one. And this isn't something that I just started using. I've been using this since 2011 and I swear by it. But like I said, today we are going to pit these two. These are the two best that I think are out there right now. Essentially, they do the exact same thing. They just both have a very different approach of how to do it.
Round one.
All right, so I first want to take a look at PowerDot. I kind of see it like PowerDot is your cool, tech-savvy uncle, Mark, who lives in San Francisco and is hip. And Compex is like your dad. Everything about the PowerDot is sleek, it's elegant, and it has its user experience right at the forefront. It has a lot of really well thought out details that you're like, I can appreciate that. They're small, but they make a big difference. So what's in the box? It's got a nice little magnet here. Magnets are snazzy. All right, so it opens up. Welcome to PowerDot right there. Inside, you're gonna get all of your pads and your instruction manual. Decent instruction manual. The photography in the back is dope. I love the black and white. Looks awesome. Whoever shot these, kudos to you. So instruction manual, pads, and then it comes in this sweet hard case. It's like TPU injected hard case. The PowerDot is like really sleek and refined. It's got a very minimal design, which I really like. There's not a lot of branding and logos and just confusion happening. It comes in two different colors, either this flat black or this kind of flat red material, flat red color. And then obviously it matches. It's very simple. All right, so the whole thing is powered by these little dots, these little brains here. These are what do all the heavy lifting. Processor and battery is inside. It comes with two chargers. We'll get into that here in a second. And two sets of leads, a really long set of leads and a really short set of leads. Let's talk about battery life. This uses a lithium-ion battery, and that's what allows it to keep its super small form factor, but it also does a couple of other great things. One, the charge time, especially compared to the Compex, is ridiculously good. I got a full, from empty to full charge in about 2 hours out of this thing. And PowerDot says the charge will last anywhere from 12 to 16 hours depending on the program you use. So you can run this thing for a really long time. All right. It also has, you charge it by this micro USB cable. I'm not a fan of this. I wish they could have gone with the Type-C. Also, here's another gripe. Micro USB, I don't know if you can see this, but it's contoured in such a way that you can only use this micro USB so far that I found on the PowerDot itself. You can't like charge something else with this. So this is another reason why I would like USB-C. And then you also have to have 2 cords. It would have been really nice to have a charge case where you only have to use 1 cord. I don't want another useless cord. And I say useless because, again, it's only good for this. I can't really use it cross-platform, which kind of sucks. The PowerDot is the more expensive unit of the two. It's $349. Right now, there's a promotion that if you spend the $349, you're going to get that 1 set of pads, but you're also going to get an additional 3 sets of pads, making 4 total sets. Now, PowerDot says a set should last you about 24 sessions or 2 months. So if you were to spend another $36, you're going to have an entire year's supply of pads. All right, so just under $400 gets you a year. Now, I don't know about you, but as tech gets better, it becomes smaller, it also becomes more expensive. But what I'm not seeing are companies giving you a better warranty to show faith in that product. This only has a 1-year warranty, and that's kind of disappointing for the money you are spending. However, their customer service is excellent, and so maybe because of that, you might not even have a problem with it. Go over like the customer experience. Their website is really clean, it's easy to navigate, and right on the website, you can find a phone number to call directly into to PowerDot, which is awesome. Kudos to you, PowerDot, because like nobody's doing that. I sent an email to their customer service email asking them the same complicated battery questions, and in 6 minutes, just 6 minutes, they had a response. So customer service, really freaking good from PowerDot so far. Now, unlike Compex, PowerDot uses an app, and I will say right now that the app is awesome. It's got an extensive, deep menu with a ton of fine-tuning capabilities that might actually overwhelm somebody new to this type of device. So let's check out the app. You'll see that it's got like these 5 subsections. This first subsection is like maybe the news. I think it's like their homepage. I don't know. It's like an open envelope. Doesn't really matter. But this is all kind of like the latest news that PowerDot has put on their webpage. When you click on one of these stories, it's going to take you to the website. The second subsection is really cool. It's an activities history. So if you're like Tim Ferriss and you want to keep track of literally every single workout you've done, this is where you do it. This is where you'd see all of that. It's got max intensity. So that's going to measure the absolute highest you've taken the PowerDot up to. Percentage of completeness of programs. You're going to look at that and be like, man, that's rather low. I'll get to that here in a second. And then total runtime. It's going to give you the total number of activities you've done, the average intensity, the top 5 workouts you like to use, and finally, the top 5 muscle groups you like to train. Now, this is the beefy part of the app. This is your workouts, your programs, so on and so forth. Up here, it's got a brief history of the workouts you've done. It's got an everyday section. These are 6 programs that all have to do with recovery. And then it's got 4 main sections of performance, wellness, tens and pain relief, and focus on. Let's go into performance. So these are your workouts. This is something you do, 1, 2, 3 times a week consistently. Within each program, each of these programs focuses on a specific muscle fiber type. It's going to give you recommended muscles to work those in. So I can click on it, it's going to take me in, but it also has other muscle groups. And if I select those, it's going to say, hey, this muscle group is dominated by a faster twitch of muscle fiber. We recommend using this type of program. And you can click that type of program that they're recommending, or you can just ignore it. The other nice thing is it tells you what the program is meant to do, what the workout is going to do, tells you how long to use it for, how many times a week. It also gives you basically your experience with an NMES. Are you a beginner, intermediate, advanced, or expert? Finally, you're gonna select that muscle group. I like the quality of the picture. It tells you exactly where to place the pads, which is nice. It's going to give you whether or not the dot is connected. And you'll see it's connecting now. I just turned one on. It's connecting, and now it's ready. I can start my workout. And since I'm only using one device, it'll ask you if you want to start with the device. You can also come into manual settings and fine tune all this, and it's extensive. There's a lot of things. Go in, check that out. I'm not going to get into them too much, but I can start a workout. I'm starting with one device. Now here you're going to see the actual dot, and this is how I like rev up the intensity essentially. Great. Once I've stopped a session, it's going to tell you your pad life, max intensity, average intensity, completeness. It's just going to give you a rundown of the session, which is really cool. All right, so moving on, we're going to go into wellness. Here, these are massage programs. There are 3 different types of massage programs. You pick the area that you want to relieve. You can come in and change the session duration, 30 minutes, 45, or up to 60. And then it gives you 3 types of different massages to do, and it tells you what they're going to do. All right, so here we have TENS and pain relief. So now we're going to work on actual pain. So I can come in and I can create a program. And as you can see, programs I've already created stay there, which is really nice because then I can just tap and start right away. But let's say I want to create a new program and I'm going to go to my elbow. I've been having elbow pain, maybe some tennis elbow. Now it's going to give me the option of what kind of pain do I need to choose from. I don't know, joint pain, chronic pain, acute pain. Let's say acute pain. It's going to give me another question. Is this pain related to injury, or is this a post-surgical pain? And I'm going to say post-surgical pain. And now it's going to give me what's my maximum level of pain. I input that pain level. It's a 5, and then I hit create program. I'm off to the races. Really cool. Finally, focus on. This is where you want to focus on a single muscle group. So maybe hypertrophy. I personally think this section is a little redundant and unnecessary, but I can go in and depending on the muscle group, it's going to give me different options for some of these. I was using this the other day and it only gave me like, say, 2 options instead of 3. But anyway, there's your focus on. We don't want to spend too much time. Lastly, we can look at our dot. It's going to tell me what the battery percentage is of each dot. You can set up sharing devices, and this is where you can attach 4 different accounts or add 4 different members as long as they're PowerDot users. So you can share one device on 4 separate phones, essentially. That's how I'm taking it. Lastly, it gives you your pad session life, which I think is really important. Then when you need more, you just hit shop pads. And finally, we have the account. This is where you can connect with social media, get notifications sent to your phone, and then there's a help center, or you can report a problem. I know apps are all the rage, and it seems like every new piece of technology coming out has them. However, there are some drawbacks, right? If I'm using Bluetooth and I'm using an app, there could be some potential issues. I experience those, right? If your Bluetooth cannot connect to the app, you're SOL. If your phone should die, you're SOL. If for some reason you can't load the app or it needs an update and you can't update, you're SOL. And like I said, all 3 of these scenarios happened to me, and it was a huge bummer. The first time I did this, I had major Bluetooth connectivity issues. After multiple times of turning on and off the device, starting and restarting the app, even powering my phone down and then rebooting it. It took me 22 minutes before I could finally get the dots to connect and give me a ready. Later that night, I decided to do a recovery program after the workout, and my phone died. You know, I had the Compex right there so I could switch in the Compex and I was good to go. But if you don't have another Compex lying around, or if you're not to where you can recharge your phone right away, again, SOL. The next day, I went to the track to do a sprint workout, and I just wanted to use these for potentiation, just to warm up. I turned them on, they connected right away, no connectivity issues. Went right into where I can actually, increase or decrease the intensity of the dot. And that potentiation is only like a 5-minute session, but it disconnected 5, 6, 7 times within that time frame. I wasn't putting any pressure to turn these on or off because they're pretty easy to do that. I was just sitting there and they kept disconnecting, and it was super aggravating. Worse than that, and potentially problematic, is that one of the times while I was turning it up, it suddenly shocked the shit out of me hard. I've never had that happen with the Compex. This one did for some reason. And right when it happened, I was like, nope, I'm done. It's not worth it. Lastly, I wanted to talk about a design flaw. I really like the design of everything, the look of it, right? But because of the actual pod, right? Because we're putting the battery and the processor in here, it then gives this some bulk. And there's two problems with, well, there's one major problem with it. As I said in the last video on these devices, to get the most out of it, you want to train with it. Because this has bulk, if you do anything dynamic, this is flying off. I was doing some plyos, right up, just a few seconds into it, this thing came flying off. And when it comes flying off, it disconnects and you have to go through the connection process again. Major bummer. Why is this? Well, one, this insertion point where it snaps onto the lead, this little thing right here, it's too shallow. And secondly, it's too small. The magnet is just too weak. So these things, if you're going to be doing any sort of movement, kind of pointless. However, if you're going to be doing something slow and easy like a goblet squat or a leg press, no problems. All right, let's talk about the Compex. It has pretty much remained unchanged in the decade that I've been using it. They've gone through a few changes, like they used to have like female male insertion type of leads. They've given it colors now. You can buy it in different colors. The screen has gotten a little bit better and it's added tens. But other than that, the user experience is exactly the same. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. The Compex, as I said before, comes in 4 different models. I'm talking about models just like this. They have a bunch of different stuff, but I'm going to talk about these NMES units. I'm excluding the Mini. All right, so there is the Edge. It comes in green. The Performance, this one, it comes in white. And this is working from least expensive, least features, least amount of features to most features, most expensive. So Edge, green, white, this Arctic white is Performance. You have the Sport Elite, which is black, and then you have the wireless. The Edge has 4 programs. This one has 6. Turn it on. You'll see the 6 programs right there on the menu screen. The Sport Elite has 10, and the wireless has 10 as well. Edge is $99. The Performance is $139, I believe, and the Sport Elite is $229. The wireless is $299. So all of them are a little less expensive, or a whole lot more, or a whole lot less expensive than the PowerDot. If it were me, right off the bat, I would tell you, if you were going to get a Compex, get the Sport Elite. You're gonna get all the features of the wireless, you're gonna save some money, and then because the wireless has the same problems the PowerDot does when it comes to these bulky pods, the Sport Elite you can actually use while doing some dynamic training. I'll get into that more here in a second. A set of pads, a set of 6 pads to give you the whole year is going to cost you $100. So quite a bit more than the PowerDots, but again, they kind of offset. So even if you got the Sport Elite, the most feature packed, and you put that $100, you're at $329. So you're still about $60 less than the PowerDot.
Outstanding.
One of the great things about Compex is it's built like a freaking tank. I've owned many units over the last decade, and none of them have had a single problem. Because of that, Compex offers the better of the 2 warranties. It's 2 years, and you can actually get a 3-year warranty if you just register the product on their website. Customer service, however, could be improved. It does have a chat feature on their website, like PowerDot does. No phone number to get a hold of them. And it took nearly 3 days for them to get back to me with an email. I sent the same email that I sent to PowerDot, I sent to Compex, and it took them 3 days to answer it. But they did. If it was like 10 days, I would say that's whoop territory and unacceptable. So customer service isn't as great, but it's okay. All right, let's take a look at what you get with the Compex. So obviously you get the unit, you get your leads, and these are obviously very different than the leads you get on a PowerDot. And we'll talk about some of the positives and negatives of these types of leads. you're gonna get your pads, right? So they look almost the same, but there is a big difference between the two. I'll go over that as well. And then you get your wall charger, and then you get a sack. I'll be honest, I thought this was okay until I got the hard case from PowerDot, and I was like, dude, Compex, you got to make a freaking hard case. This is expensive gear, even though it's built like a tank. I just, peace of mind to have something like that would be great. All right, let's talk battery life. This device, the Compex, uses a nickel metal hydride battery. That's what the NIMH stands for. This is older battery technology. It's much bigger than lithium ion, and it takes a much longer amount of time to charge. Compex quoted me 10 hours to fully charge this thing. Let's go over kind of the user experience like we did with the app. So this is, it's super basic. Like I said, this is your dad, right? This isn't Uncle Mark. You're basically getting a Nintendo Game Boy for your muscles. You get two colors, dark and light, and the menu system correlates to these buttons right here. So this is your off, this is up and down the thing, and over to the next category. So this will essentially do everything that this does. It just does it with no frills, and there's no like fine tuning. And you'll see that. So like if I go to endurance, it's already got a session length established. You can't change that. Instead of fine tuning the muscle groups, you get lower leg, upper leg or thigh, you get your butt, you get your core, you get your chest, you get your shoulders and biceps, or you get your forearms and hands. That's it. So you're limited to like 6 instead of 30. I can choose whether or not I want to have a warm up. And then here I can choose the intensity, the level, I call it the level. And within each one of these levels, you can crank this thing pretty damn high. And that's it. That's the whole thing. So you don't get the customization that you get with the Dot, but it's freaking fast, right? You're up and running really quick. All right, so it uses this long type of lead. So the nice thing about PowerDot is it's wireless, and this doesn't get in the way. When I plug this in and I attach these here, as you can see, this long lead is very cumbersome. And when you're training, you have to hold this in your hand, or you can put it in a pocket, but because it's heavy, it might pull your shorts off. There are a couple of positives about this though. One, there's no disconnecting. Once you turn this on, it only took me like 2 minutes to get everything plugged in, probably less. I walked into the gym, put this thing on, select a program, up and running, and I didn't have to worry about it at all, right? So there's no disconnecting between anything because you don't have an app. Also, because it uses these very secure snaps, you can see how much deeper these are. They're not magnets, it's not fancy, but it takes the same amount of time, snap them on, they don't come off. Because I'm not using a big bulky pod, I can do all the dynamic work that I want to do and not have to worry about this coming off. So sprints, vertical jump stuff, box jumps, if I want to do cleans, I don't have to worry about this. It's nice and secure always. There's one other difference between the PowerDot pad and the Compex pad. You see this? It's a little pull tab. So it's just a little detail, but doesn't have sticky, and it just makes grabbing it and pulling it off and on great. Because this doesn't, that means your hand is touching the sticky stuff, and it makes the pad degrade a little bit quicker. Small, but important detail. All right, so which one should you buy? You know, you've got the pros and cons of each, and honestly, because of cost of ownership, practicality, and reliability, I've got to go with the Compex still. It's only by a slight margin though. I never have to worry about not being able to use this. If I want to use this, it's always good to go. And that is the major factor for why I would purchase it over a PowerDot. PowerDot has so many more features, and I really enjoyed The app, I enjoyed everything about it. It has a couple of tweaks that it needs to make. So even though it lost, it wasn't by much. On that note, I want to give some advice to PowerDot, give some advice to Compex. PowerDot, you are so close. I think a few refinements to the connectivity issues. I know you're using low power Bluetooth, I think 4.1 or 4.2. Maybe if you stepped up to Bluetooth 5 or 6 when it comes out, that could solve some of the connectivity issues. I think you've got a great design, and even though I said this pod has its limitations because of its design, I think with a much stronger connector, whether you were to use multiple connectors and attach it that way, or a much bigger one with a deeper insert and a much more powerful magnet, because of its the weight, it's so light, I don't think it'll come off. It's too weak right now. Also, if you could design this to be more convex, it would just hug a muscle a little bit better. Right now there's some space, and that space also creates, imbalance, and then it pulls away. More importantly, I think you're the kind of company that would listen to its customers, whether they have 1 million followers or under 900 like I do. I think you would be the kind of company that would take that and move forward with it and create a really great device that dominates the marketplace, and I hope you do. Compex, you won, but honestly, not by much. And worst of all, I think you're the kind of company that won't listen to any of the advice I have to give you. And the reason I say that is not because you're mean or anything like that. It's because you've been surviving with just good enough for so long, right? Technology has come a long way, and you really haven't made too many changes that could help this. A bigger, better screen with some of that information that I'm getting off the PowerDot app directly onto the unit would be phenomenal, especially for your new users. It would be really nice to see, as I'm doing this, where I need to put the pads, but I can't. I don't get any of that information. I have to go to your website and download a PDF. Battery life, it's great. You could definitely switch to a lithium-ion battery at this point. And even though it's basic and it's reliable, it's just not that much fun. I think you could do a much better job with the screen and the LCD at this point. So Compex, you definitely need to evolve. One thing that I will say that you've got going for you is, even though your website is a little bit clunky and it needs a serious refresh and update, the fact that you're putting sport-specific programs on there for free and also physical attribute-specific programs for free, I think is really cool. My only advice with that is, it's also a kind of a complicated PDF. And if you were to do a video course on those, I think you've got a real winner on your hands. Compex, I've been really loyal to you, and I would continue to do so if you made some of those improvements. If not, I think a company, a forward-thinking company like PowerDot, is going to listen. They're going to make changes. In another year or two, they're going to have a superior product. All right, off the soapbox. And that's it. I hope you liked the video. I hope you liked the information. I tried to make it as in-depth as I could. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Please just leave me a comment down below. If you did like the video, hitting that like button would go a long way, not only with the YouTube algorithm, but it also lets me know what kind of content you want to see more of. One of the reasons I'm doing this is most of my videos only get like 200 or 300 views. My Apple Watch versus Whoop video, which you can also see here, has about 25,000. So I figured, I love doing these reviews. I love tech and fitness. Why not make some more? You can let me know by hitting that like button. If you love this kind of content, please consider subscribing. Obviously, it's going to help the channel grow, but with bigger and bigger growth comes better and better content for you. Finally, if you want to be notified as to when I release new content, just hit this little notification bell down below. Thank you again for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Peace.